Hey everybody, it's your girl Planet Time on deck. I hope you guys are having a great day, afternoon, and or evening whenever you guys are seeing this. So thank you guys so much for joining me. You guys already know I appreciate that. So today I'm going to be discussing how to successfully work from home. This is the tips edition. So if you are newly working from home or you are considering it, you don't want to miss this video. I have 8 tips that can make or break your work from home experience. And if you guys want to hear what I put together, all you guys got to do, stay tuned. Okay, so thank you guys so much for tuning back in. I really appreciate it. Without further ado, let's jump into these tips. Okay, so tip number 1, if you want to successfully work from home, what you need to do is what? Ace your interview. Yeah, you can't work from home until you have your fantastic interview. Get in there, show your interviewer what you're all about, give them an opportunity to get to know you and to choose you. Okay, so number 1 is you must ace your interview. Now, a couple weeks ago, I put out a video on how to ace a job interview. And if you guys want all the tips on that and everything I take you through and the examples that I have set up for you, I actually have linked that video in this description. But for sake of this video, let me give you a brief overview of how you can do that, okay? If you want to ace your work at home, if you want to ace your virtual interview, okay, some tips that you can use is 1, be on time. Don't be late, and guess what? Don't be late. If you are early, you are on time. If you are on time, you are late. So again, I say, don't be late, okay? Tip 2 for acing your virtual interview. Make sure to dress appropriately. Of course, you wouldn't have anything off your shoulders like I do today, a more casual approach. But you want to dress as if you were going into an office, a building, a site, wherever it may be. You can be interviewing to work at a clothing store or a restaurant or in a mall or even in an office or to be a plumber. Whatever the case may be, you want to dress accordingly for whatever that job is going to be. Dress as if you're already in the field. Okay, you guys know what I'm talking about. Dress as if you already got the job and you're already an employee. It makes all the difference because if you can see it, you can be it, you know, so that type mentality, keep that with you, okay? Another tip on acing that interview is make sure, if it's a virtual interview, make sure that your background is clean. You see my background? There's nothing here. I can put anything here I want. However, for the sake of a virtual interview, you want nothing in your background. You want it clean. You want it clear. You don't want pictures of your marijuana. You don't want pictures of your naked girls or guys or whatever you're into. You don't want a picture of your whatever it could be. You just want to have a clean, you know, background where there's, you know, the person can use their imagination. However, they shouldn't be able to see a whole bunch of even family pictures. You know, sometimes you don't realize in those good old fun family pictures, maybe somebody was holding up a bottle of tequila to their mouth or something. They were having a good old fashioned time. Now, amongst your family, that's probably fine and all right and everything, but your interviewer, they don't need to see that. It's like not even any of their business, right? You guys with me? Okay. Another tip that I use in that video for acing a virtual interview or any other interview for that matter, is to make sure to not use profanity. Okay. Don't use slurs. I once had an interview before where a candidate always said, kept saying after every word, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Now in my mind, yeah, I know what you're saying, okay? But I'm gonna need you to stop saying, you know what I'm saying, because when we cross the threshold of you no longer being a candidate but an employee, now I have to look at you as if you're a representative of whatever organization you're applying for. And if I have to look at you exclusively as a representative, I expect nothing more than your utmost professionalism, okay? After 5 o'clock or after hours, if you want to say, you know what I'm saying, that's cool because I probably likely know what you're saying anyways, okay? But for the sake of the interview, I need you to talk to me and to behave as if you are a direct representative of whatever business that you are applying for, to make sure to see whether if it will be a good fit for the organization. You guys with me? Light up the comments if you guys get where I'm coming from, okay? Another thing, I said no slang and no profanity. Okay, yeah. No slang, no profanity. And the last thing that I'm going to include from the earlier video that I did on how to ace a job interview is when you are finished with that interview, You've got mail. You guys ever remember hearing that? You've got mail. I think it was a movie called You've Got Mail. But anyhow, it was about emails and about people getting emails and responding to them and so forth, right? You want to send an email thanking your interviewer for their time. Hello, dear Planet Ty. It was a pleasure meeting with you today. Thank you for discussing with me what it looks like to be in operations in your organization. I look forward to learning more. Hope to hear from you soon. Signed, candidate, right? A quick email, it doesn't take a lot. It will just not even really minutes of your day, a few seconds if you're a pretty quick thinker, a few seconds of your day, and boom, you have left a print on your interviewer, and so they can get back to you. Now, if you guys follow the steps in my initial video, okay, and you're going for a virtual interview or an in-person interview, you just might get the job. And if you guys do, I want you guys to return to these comments or the comments from that video and light them up and say, thank you, Planet Ty. Those were tips I can use, okay? So the first tip, number one, the first tip to work successfully from home is, one, you must ace your interview, okay? You gotta ace the interview, you gotta get the job so you can work from home. Cool? Cool. All right. Now let's dance into tip number 2, right? So let's say you got the job now. Oh, shucky duck, you on the payroll, okay? Now that you're on the payroll and you have this position, whatever it is that you applied for to work from home, congratulations, you've made it, okay? Now, I know that working from home sounds very exciting, especially if you never had that experience. I know that it's like, oh my God, I get to get up when I want, I get to do this, I get to do that. All these things start going through your head about how you'll have all this extra free time, right? Okay, cool, I get all that. However, working from home can take a lot of discipline. Did you guys catch that? Working from home can take a lot of discipline. Okay, so tip number 2 is just that. You will need to discipline yourself. Okay, so this is equivalent to when you get up to start your day, treat yourself as if you do have to go on site. Treat yourself as if you do have to go to a location, to the business address or whatever, because here's what will happen. So you get up, you get yourself up on time, you dress presentable for whatever attire that the organization permits, right? You make sure that you log in, clock in. If you don't clock in, you sign in, whatever the case may be, you do that. But you go with it, you start your day and proceed with your day as if you are there in person, okay? You don't want to go ahead and just roll over in your bed and, not even take your robe off or anything. Keep your robe on and log in and then turn back around and go to sleep for another 15 minutes. That's not it. What you want to do is you want to treat the position as if you are on site. That is very important because, one, professionalism. You want to maintain your professionalism at all times, and you want to be ready just in case somebody needs anything. You don't want to be hiding or shucking behind like, oh my God, I'm not ready, but it's a business day, and well, you signed on to say that you would be ready. You guys with me? Light up the comments if you guys understand where I'm coming from on that one, okay? So yeah, you want to be ready. You want to have everything set in place. Another thing about this whole discipline is, now if you would normally take yourself, let's say, a lunch at, let's say, 12 o'clock, right? Standard lunchtime, usually between 11 and 12 or 12 and 1, something like that. Depending on what industry you're in, you may get a 30-minute lunch, which is much more typical for the majority of people. And in some cases, if you're in upper management, or it depends on what industry, you can get an hour lunch, but it's more typical for people to get about a 30-minute lunch, right? So you want to make sure that if you were on site, when it's time to clock out for lunch, you wouldn't waste any time. You would run to wherever your clock out is, whether it be on your computer, whether it be an actual clock out machine in your location. You would get to that quick, fast, and in a hurry, right? You go ahead and clock out. Cool. Well, when you're working virtually, you want to make sure you keep that same principle. If your standard clock out time is at 12 o'clock, then clock out at 12. Clock out at 12. If your standard clock in time is 12:30, clock back in at 12:30. Discipline yourself, okay? It doesn't mean that because you're working at home, oh, I'm bored with this, there's nothing fun going on right now, let me go to the mall because I feel like shopping, or I just seen this cute new shirt and I gotta have it. Your girl gotta have it, right? So now I'm gonna go ahead and take a 2-hour shopping detour away from business. Okay, let me highly discourage you guys. Do not do things like that. Working from home it's an opportunity for you to go ahead and get your business done, take care of whatever business you need to handle, get that part done, you know, keep on your professional hat, okay? And then after that, you know, maybe, I mean, you know, the blessing and stuff like that is you don't have to commute, perhaps, you know, you could be right at home, you don't have to commute, you don't have to spend the money getting cities over or whatever else. Maybe it's easier for you to deal with your family if you have children, right? You are children or grandchildren or somebody you care for, right? Maybe it's easier for you to deal with them because you get to stay in the same city, the same vicinity, maybe the same home. And so on your lunch break, you know, instead of going to go do something like, let me go get my tires rotated, you know, I can either go take the kids this or that for lunch, or I can go pick this up for dinner. You know, I have that time and that flexibility to kind of do that on my lunch break without overdoing it, because if you overdo it, that turns into something else, or it can. So the number 2 tip from working from home is you must be disciplined. You guys with me? We here? Okay, I think we are. So on that note, we are going to dance on to tip 3. Okay, so tip 3. It's kind of like first cousins to tip 2, because they both know each other and they both go to the family reunion. They're both related. Everybody knows what tip 2 and tip 3 does, okay? They kind of meet at the center, okay? So tip 3 is you got to stay consistent, okay? Consistency is wildly important. Whether you are working virtually or in person, you got to be consistent, okay? That's the only way that you can build any kind of trust or camaraderie with the organization that you're working for, with your coworkers, or even with your clients, right? Now, for instance, you can be the kind of person who works in, like, say, a salon or something, right? If your clients can't depend on you to show up, like say if you told me I can come get my hair done or my makeup at 2 o'clock, right? And I'm on a tight schedule because I work myself. So my 2 o'clock needs to be 2 o'clock because I only have a certain amount of time. If I show up to you to get my hair and makeup done at 2 o'clock, and at 2 o'clock you're just arriving, or you're telling me, oh, I'm 30 minutes away, I'll be there in 30 minutes. Well, you just messed up my entire lunch break. So now I don't trust you, and the next time I get an opportunity to go get my hair or makeup done or something like that, I won't choose you, because what would be the point of me choosing you if I can't depend on you, right? For time's sake. So consistency, number 3, is very, very important, okay? So it's also important, like, to set yourself a daily schedule for your colleagues and your customers of when you're in the office or in the salon or in the, you know, depends on what industry you are, if you're going to be doing plumbing at this time or not. You need to set yourself a daily schedule, okay? Now, this schedule could even be something as simplistic as something that you hand write out for yourself and print it out and tack it to your wall, right? My schedule, Monday through Friday from, 9 to 5, from 8 to 4:30. My lunch break is at 12 to 12:30, or 1 to 2, or whatever the case may be, based on the industry that you're in and the flexibility that you have, right? You want to make sure that you set yourself a schedule that you can abide by, that you can stay consistent with, that people can get used to, finding you at. Now, keep in mind, this also applies for my creators out there, right? Because just like you guys at home who are blessing me with watching my video, okay? You guys, a lot of you guys are creators just like me, okay? This just means that you guys either have a YouTube account, a YouTube channel, a TikTok page, an Instagram account, or a Twitter account, or something else like that you guys manage for your social media purposes, for your what do you call that? For your branding purposes, to make sure that you get your name and your brand out there, right? Okay, so for a lot of people who manage these type of accounts for themselves, some of their goals, or most of their goals from my knowledge, is for them to have a social media platform where they actually get a big following, where people actually look for them, right? Where people actually want to see what they're talking about. People want to see what they're into, right? So if you are a person who's a content creator, it's very important for you to be consistent with your content as well, because you may make, let's say, a funny or creative or motivational video, let's say on a Monday, right? And then you don't make another video until, let's say, a Thursday evening. People are going to be looking around like, wait a minute, if it's Monday again, I don't see that person. Are they going to make anything? Was it they're a one-hit wonder? What's going on? Anybody out there? You still going to produce anything or share anything with us, right? So consistency is very important. If you are a creator, like I said, like myself, on any platform, whether you are huge, mega huge, or you are very very humble, small creator like myself, you want to just make sure that, you know what, hey, Planet Ty, if you are looking for me, you can usually find me on Thursdays. I usually put out content once a week, just on Thursdays, right? So you want to stay consistent, whether you put out a whole lot of material or a little bit of material. You just want to stay consistent so people know how to find you and what to expect when they're going to get you. My content can vary because I love doing true crime. I love doing vlogs and how-tos. Okay, game changer. I like doing that too. So between one of those things, you can look at the description and you can kind of see what people are into, or their About Me section. You can see what kind of content you may be able to expect for them, anytime that they're releasing. So consistency is key. All right, guys, so moving right along, let's dance on over to tip number 4, okay? So tip number 4, you gotta add your important projects and your follow-ups to a calendar. You guys hear me? You gotta add your important projects or follow-up to a calendar. Okay, so while working at home, depending on what field you're in, a lot of work requests can come at you, and it can come at you real fast, right? Depending on what you do, you can get a lot of stuff. It's like, if you are a person who is in customer service, for instance, perhaps you get a lot of calls. You get a lot of calls come in, maybe you're on a call line where you have to pick up all these calls, and a lot of calls can come into you quickly. Maybe you're, in an organization where you have to take like live chats, right? You're the live chat operator. You have to answer any live chats coming in with any questions, and they can come at you fast, right? Excuse me. So what you want to do, and then keep in mind, if you're in a field where you offer any kind of customer service in any way, you can get calls fast, you can get live chats fast, and then all of a sudden you can have to follow with the client via a Zoom meeting, let's say before noon, and then a team meeting that same afternoon, like say about 1 or 2. Now, somewhere between the live chats and the call follow-up, in the thick of all that, you need a break, right? Like, you literally can use like a human break, like, okay, you know what? I just need time out to breathe. Okay. And while you are taking your time out to breathe, which is good and is necessary, everybody needs like a mental health break so they can kind of rejuvenate and get back to business. Okay. But while you're taking that time out to breathe, time is a ticking. Do not forget that. And trust me, you don't want to be the one who receives a text like your girl did before, a text saying, Planet Ty, our 1 o'clock meeting has started. Will you be joining us today? Because yes, it has happened to your girl, and that's how I know the tips to give you guys, because I have experienced them. I have watched them. They have been a part of my existence in one way or another. Okay. So anyhow, I had a whole bunch of stuff to get through on a particular morning, and somehow I forgot that I had an afternoon. It just went over my head. I lost track of time that I had a 1 p.m. Zoom meeting. And so anyhow, I got a very lovely, friendly text saying, Planet Ty, so are you going to be joining us today? Trust me, you don't want to be the person getting that text. Now, as I smile about it now, it's because of course I'm past all that now, but you don't want to be the person getting that text if you work virtually. Okay. Mental note, set a calendar. Okay. Go ahead and, create a calendar, put it on your calendar, your to-do list, your meetings, your projects, your engagements, who you're supposed to be talking to at what time, especially if you're a person in a industry that moves relatively fast. You want to make sure you're not forgetting anything or anyone to the best of your ability. So if you put it on your calendar, it can have those alert reminders that comes up an hour before. Planet Tie, you got a meeting coming up in an hour. Cool. Oh yeah, that's right. Let me go get all the notes on this. Boom, 30 minutes before Planet Tie, you got to meet with so-and-so in 30 minutes. Oh, cool, at least I got the notes. Let me go ahead and put in my comments, right? You can prepare if you just go ahead and set yourself a reminder. Y'all light up the comments and let me know. Have you guys ever experienced something like that? And if so, like, how did you get past it? What was your whole thought process, okay? I'd love to know that. You guys know I love to hear when you guys weigh in. I just love it, okay? So you guys share your thoughts on that one. Let's dance on number 5, and we're almost finished, okay? So number 5, mark yourself out of the office when you are away. I'm going to say that again. Mark yourself out of the office when you are away. Here's why. Now, some folks are wondering why this is important. Well, if you're a person who provides phone support or live chat support, again, traditionally for people who interact with customers, right? And you don't clock yourself out when you're out, like for lunch or when the day's over, or even if you have taken a half a day and you don't clock yourself out, it will appear that you are ignoring your phone calls, your live chats, your emails, right? If you officially clock yourself out, then your superior, your manager, or whatever else, if somebody's looking for you, they'll be able to see that, well, oh, actually, Planet Tie's not even here. She left at this time, right? So if somebody keeps calling and saying, I keep trying to reach Planet Tie, but I can't reach her, but they'll be like, well, but Planet Tie ain't even here. She's gone. She's gone for the day. Is there something I can help you with? Or how can I move this along to give you whatever service you need, right? So it's really important, if you're not there, mark yourself out for the day. Just go ahead, clock yourself out in whichever way that you clock in. Make sure to clock yourself out, okay? Also, what it can show is that over time, it can show like a decrease in your follow through, like 20 or 30%. Like for instance, if you forget 20 or 30% of the time to clock yourself out for lunch when you're at lunch, or to clock yourself out for the day when you're out, and clients are still calling you, they are emailing you, or they're live chatting you, and when your superior looks, there's always a way to check, guys, okay? You can clearly see that people are not answering the chats, people are not answering the calls, or people are not following up on their emails. It will look as if you are deliberately not engaging with your clients or following up with them. And of course, you don't want that, because everyone has things like performance reviews. In those reviews, of course, I'm sure some supervisor wouldn't mind stating, several people were trying to reach you between this time frame and this time frame, and they weren't able to get you, so we need to figure out what's the piece to that. How do we make sure that doesn't happen moving forward, right? You guys with me? Anybody ever had a performance review? Light up the comments and let me know. And in your performance review, did it ever indicate what your superiors were able to see that you didn't follow through with, right? This is a way to save you, especially if you are working from home and you want to be successful working from home virtually. You're going to make sure that you take these steps to heart. You guys with me? You get where I'm coming from? Okay, this will absolutely help you now and in the future. Now, I know, and then also, if you have different colleagues who, let's say, we all have these kind of coworkers, right? Where you got some coworkers where they would love to bring to the management or upper management's attention that they couldn't reach you when they tried. You guys know what I'm talking about? So they can be in different departments. They may even be in the same department as you, and they may say, well, I called Planet Tie, this time and at this date, and I just couldn't seem to reach her. So they run straight to upper management and say, well, I was looking for, is she in today? Is she not feeling well? Okay, well, because you have people like that, whether you are working virtually or whether you are on site, you want to make sure to kind of just take care of yourself, prepare yourself for this, and prepare yourself to get past stuff like this. Now, how are you going to do that? With tip number 5. If you're not here, clock yourself out. So if someone says, well, I called her at this time and that time, well, but the out of office calendar, if your office or organization has one, it says she's not even there. So when you weren't able to reach her, well, you shouldn't have been able to reach her, because she was gone for the day. She was already logged out of live chat. She was already, put out of office. She's not taking any calls. So there was no way to reach her. You guys with me? Make sense to you guys? Light up the comments if you guys understand where I'm coming from, okay? Tip number 6, very important tip. Attend virtual employee meetings and ask questions. Now, if you work in a virtual environment, okay, there is likely going to be weekly meetings. There's likely going to be bi-weekly meetings. There's likely going to be, monthly meetings and so forth, right? And definitely annual meetings as well, right? Because you're virtual, oftentimes you're going to be expected to be in a lot more meetings than you would be if you were actually on site. On site, because people can just walk up to you and say, hey, Planet Ty, have you did this report? Oh, sure. Here it is right here, right? Have you, oh no, I'm working on it, almost done. I'll get it to you by end of day. Cool, right? Well, because people can't just walk up to you and ask you those questions when you're virtually, it's going to be a lot more communication via email or live chat, or, depending on what industry you're in, it could be text, because some industries, like if you work in like fast food, they do a lot of text in there, like at Jamba Juice or something else like that, they may text a lot, right? Whereas in Home Depot, it could be an email. If it's at a bank, it could be formal, in person, whatever else. But anyways, so it just depends on what industry you're in, but you definitely want to make sure that you are attending any meeting that you possibly can, okay? Now, you got to keep in mind that virtual meetings are the best way to share needed information for the organization you work for, right? If you guys, everybody's at home anyhow, we need to have a virtual meeting. Everybody should likely be in attendance, okay? So these meetings are events that you definitely don't want to miss, because during these meetings, items like urgent projects coming up, they're going to talk about that stuff there. They're going to talk about employee A. Like, say, for instance, if employee A is going to be out for the next month and they need somebody to cover their shift or to take care of their clients while they're away, right? Now, people will generally get quiet, have their phone or their laptop or computer on mute. Everybody's looking around. Nobody wants to say anything or volunteer most of the time, right? But if you're not in that virtual meeting, guess who might get that 30 days of their shift plus somebody else's backup? It very well may be you. So you want to make sure that any virtual meeting that you have, that you attend that meeting, so that you can just get like an in-depth of what's going on, what do you need to know, what do you need to do, which time frame, right then and there, like at ground zero. You don't want to wait for nobody to give you the details, because you want to already be there so that you can speak for yourself and decide what's best for you and the best way for you to move forward with that organization. You guys with me? All right, light up the comments and let me know your thoughts about that. Okay, and we're just about done. We just got 2 more tips to get through and we will be done for the day. So tip number 7 on that note is share your ideas and input, right? So if you receive an email about a product or a service being implemented and your management team wants to know what you think of it, please give your input. Give your input, okay? Share your thoughts, but share your thoughts honestly, okay? Now, oftentimes, employees' opinions are the key to success within an organization, okay? It really is the key to success, because, there may be like even a survey or something that goes out to say, what do you guys think about this new service or product, right? And sometimes people don't want to take it or they don't want to give their opinion, but there could be one thing that you're thinking that the entire management team or even upper management team never thought about, but it can be extremely helpful to the clients, to even your coworkers and everything else, but people would never know if you decided not to share it, right? Some of the ideas that come from employees, well, actually a lot of them, depending on the industry you're in, the upper management will take that so seriously because they know that you guys have this miraculous ability to look at things, one, objectively, as if you were not the employee, if you were the customer, because you guys, the first point of contact, usually get to hear all the customer concerns. So you know what the customers are saying about the product or service the company's offering, right? So your opinion is rather valuable. It is rather valuable. And so I encourage you guys to share your ideas, share your input, dare I say, in a diplomatic way, okay? I say that because sometimes when we share our ideas and our input, we don't realize that we can say, oh, well, I don't know who thought to do it this way. That's dumb. We should have did this instead. That would have been more efficient. Now, we should have did this, it could have been more efficient, is wonderful. But to downplay something that someone else thought of is it's not cool. You don't want to do that. For lack of better words, it's just not cool. Let me say that. Because the last thing that you want to ever do is put someone else down for their idea while uplifting yours. Because honestly, no idea is more valuable than the next idea, you know. They're all good. As long as somebody is thinking and participating, it's all good. All right? You guys with me? You guys understand where I'm coming from there? So share your input. Share your ideas. The management team, the upper management team would love to hear that from you. Just make sure that you are diplomatic in your approach. All right, guys, so the moment you have been waiting for has arrived. What moment is that? Some of you guys are saying, well, it's the moment where I give you the 8th and final tip of the day for how to successfully work from home. Okay, you guys ready? Drum roll, please. How to successfully work from home. Avoid gossip. Yeah, gotta say it, guys. Gotta say it. I know some of you guys are thinking, well, who could be gossiping about what if we're at home, right? Like, who could even, what would they possibly be gossiping about, right? Now, working virtually, it can get harder to avoid the everyday friendly, just calling you to say, hey, Ty, so did you hear what what's the name said? Or did you hear what blank blank said in the meeting? What did you think of that? Right? Now, if you're in, let's say, an office environment, or even if you work at like a clothing store, like, you know, any clothing store, or whatever else, and somebody would generally walk up to you and they kind of corny, they kind of look both ways first to see who's around, and they kind of corny and say, what did you think about what Apple said? What did you think Apple said? Did you think Apple was talking about orange? Did you think orange was talking about grape? Weren't they looking a little bit, you know, there was something in their eyes, right? Now, if you're on site, generally you can kind of, you know, it may be a little harder to laugh it off and walk away or something, or be like, I don't want to hear that, okay, you know? But if you are virtually, if somebody's called your phone now, they've picked up and they've called you, hello, Ty, did you hear what Apple said about orange? Ooh, right? Now, if you can decide while working virtually that, you know what? My phone is ringing. Oh, this looks like this is pear. I'm not answering the phone for pear right now, because generally when I answer the phone for pear seems to have a lot to say about apple and orange. So I'm not answering the phone for pear, right? You can decide virtually, well, you're not going to answer the phone, you know. You can also decide that you pick up the phone for pear and say, hey, pear, you know what? I have a client that's supposed to call me in exactly 3 minutes. Is it okay if I call you back? Right? Now, pear may initially look a little stank at the phone, like, well, it's whatever, you know? But he or she is going to have to understand that you said, I don't have time. I do need to talk, you know, I have to deal with the client. I have to get back to you, right? So parents just going to have to understand that it is what it is, and, you know, allow you to get off that phone. Now, at that point, the choice is up to you if you want to call a pair back later and hear whatever fantastic story that he or she may have conjured up in their head about apple or orange, right? Of course. But it's a little, when you're virtually, though, you have to make sure that you use a certain amount of tact when you tell somebody, you know what, I'm unavailable right now, or can I get back to you? Because you also got to keep in mind that that person is your coworker, okay? And with the coworker, you may need them for something. You may need their area of expertise where, you know what, they're the best in their field, and you got to reach out to them to get things done. So generally, you want to keep an open, engaging dialogue with them at all times, right? And if you are at all able to do so, then I encourage you to do so. So I think you guys get where I am coming from today. These are 8 tips to show you guys how to successfully work from home. Okay. Now, if you guys like videos like this, you guys make sure to light up the comments and let me know. If you guys would like to see different variations of work from home tips, or if you guys have questions, drop it in the comments. So you guys can go ahead and hit me up on Instagram. I will have all that information in my description, where you guys can go ahead and follow me or jump in my inbox and say, hey, Planet Ty, you should create a video about this work from home. And I am happy to look into that and to do that. This is all that I have for you guys today, and I hope that you guys have enjoyed it. If you are new here, welcome. Please make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you are returning, I love you lots. Thank you so much for rocking with me. I appreciate that, like, tremendously. All right. Well, this is all that I have for you guys today. Like I always say, there's always another story to be told, but for now,